So I guess we are live now. Yes, we are. All right then, this is our time. So let us do our quick prayer on this beautiful Saturday. Lord, another Saturday where we are together with friends, incarnated and discarnated. Happy to be here to enjoy another session of our humble study where we aim to help ourselves and others. Asking you, Father, to send your love and your light to everyone here present in this room, allowing us to enjoy the best we can this opportunity. Be with us today and always. So be it. All right then. So let me share the book. This is always a key moment, and I don't know if you work or not. Can you guys see the book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So last Saturday, we have stopped on the end of the item 308. So we are starting today from 309. We will now briefly address amateur's trickery, i.e., the innocent fraud of certain pranksters. This deception may be practiced as entertainment at unimportant and frivolous meetings, but never in serious gatherings that only admits honest persons. With that, Kardec is acknowledging that there are situations, there are meetings, and fake phenomena, if we can say like that. Because we are humans, there are people to try to benefit from those situations as well. So that's why it's very important that when we decide to be part of a study like that, or a meeting like that, or attend a session for any particular reason, that we ascertain first the group, whom, where, what's the objective, few things that we need to see before we jump on. All right? Someone may derive pleasure from monetary trickery, but he or she would have to be strangely patient to keep up such a role for months and years, and each time for long hours in a row. Only some kind of profit could lead someone to persevere for so long and profit. We will repeat, should immediately arouse suspicion. So that we may not say enough that spiritism and money, spiritism and profit, spiritism and business, spiritism, any kind of return to the people that are doing should raise the alarm on us, right? We need to be careful with that. One might argue that mediums cannot donate all their time to public in the interest of spiritism, because they too need to make a living. I see the reasoning behind that, but it is a wrong reasoning. Well, since I was born, I'm spiritist, and I'm surrounded by spiritists since then, and I do not know any spiritist that had a living from the spiritism. all people I know, they had to work through the day and perform their charity when they were not working. That could be during the weekends, that could be over the night, but I never met any spiritist that was living from the spiritism. So we need to raise a massive alarm if we do have someone that is living from that. And nowadays we can live from things on YouTube, we can live from editing books, selling anything. So if we met someone that's living from that, be careful. I would not recommend. And mightn't they anticipated before anything? Yes?
Apologies to interrupt you. Just one, I didn't want to go through, I have a question. Okay, let's say that you are a spiritist and you write a book, okay? And I know that like Xavier, they never got any money, but if you are not, because I mean, if you write a spirit book, the series ones, okay, that doesn't need to be like mediumship. You wrote by your own work and you donate part to thing. Could you still keep something? Because let's say that you are a writer, for example, so you work on that and you are spreading the spiritism, but at the same time, do you understand what I mean? It's not through mediumship, it's through your own writing.
Very,
Would
very
that be okay to get some money?
Yeah, very, very good question. Spiritism do not forbid anyone to do anything.
I know, yeah.
Right? We only point what would be positive, what will not be that positive. I will share you my own vision and what would I do in such a case. If I do write a book related to spiritism through mediumship, means a spirit is writing through me.
Yeah.
I will not get a penny in my bank account. If I decide to write a book about spiritism on my own, I will not get a penny in my bank account. Spiritism is not for money. Spiritism is not a living. Spiritism is to share the knowledge, and that's it. If anybody is living from that, I don't have a problem with that, but the person may have a problem later. Right? All good examples I had personally and through common knowledge like Chico, Divaldo, blah, blah, blah. And people that I was surrounded when I was in my home country, none of them made a penny. Actually, it was the other way around.
No, sorry, but they were through membership. I understand that
No.
totally.
Oh,
no, all right, okay.
No membership. Everything
All
they
right, okay,
did,
thank you.
everything they did with a spiritism flag, if I may say like that, they haven't made any money at all. And the people I know was exactly the opposite. They used to put their money to make things happen without expecting any return.
Okay, thank you.
But what your question is very, very, very good. Very, very good. Especially nowadays. Because people decide to find excuses to justify. Well, that's all right. Well, that's okay. Oh, well, that does not fall into that rule, so that's okay. So, but no, I'm very strict in regards to that. And I tell you what, I work with the spirits. And the spirits I work with, sometimes they tell us to do things. And they tell us that is for free. The result of what we are doing is to be donated for free. We will not charge anything. So I have a massive difficulty to see anything different than that. And as I said, I'm giving you my personal point of view. I will never be with such a thing.
Thank you.
Well, at least I hope I'll never be with such a thing. You know, but never is a very strong word. Oh, we have two hands. I don't know who was first. So I will choose Camila first.
Okay. I would say that in my view, I think it's easy if we put like, if we go in a church or any place that is speaking by in God and Jesus and whatever, right? He's trying to share the knowledge of some abbot or something like that. Would it be right this place charge people to learn about God, charge people to learn about Jesus? So no matter if it's another religion, another thing, anything, right? why I would try to win money doing courses or writing books, speaking about spiritism, speaking something that is the God system, speaking about something that they in many places they say that is related to charity, is like is divine, is something important. I don't know. I put into his view.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Charles.
Yes, so uh, it's indeed a lot of people write books. They give the rights for free to an institution, and they even pay from their pocket the costs for printing the book, you know. So that is a case we encounter most frequently in the Spiritist movement. Now, there are other situations that has to be looked at carefully. For instance, there are groups in Europe have huge difficulties to have how to say a place where they can meet. They have to pay. Sometimes it's in Paris or Brussels or whatever. They pay more than €1,000 every month. So they need to find ways to finance that. When the member of the group, they do not have the mean to do it, they have two solutions. One solution is, okay, we don't have the means, so we close the place where we meet, which would be a pity because it's jeopardizing the activity. Or they look for ways to finance it. Some are doing feijoada at the end of the year or stuff like events, social events to fund the place. There is another case, for instance, some spiritists are not, they are poor, they don't have a lot of money, and they can be very helpful in certain events, for instance. So there you have also two choices. Either, okay, you say it's like this, you have not the money, so you don't come, or again, find a way to finance either through the institution or through other people the fact that they can come, you know. Otherwise, again, it's a loss of opportunity for divulgating or whatever. And this is what I most was criticizing on this, you know, these big congresses that happened every 3 years all around the world. So the one who has the money can come and participate, and the one who is poor in the favela or wherever cannot participate. So it's a kind of segregation, which is also not acceptable. But luckily nowadays, at least, it can be how to say, transmitted live so that the people can gather even in the favela in front of a screen to participate also somehow to the event. And in France, it's the same. When we do, for instance, a conference, we have to pay to rent a big room. So we don't charge for it. We just ask for a participation to the costs that is not imposed. So people, even if they don't have money or if they don't want to pay to participate, they are still welcome to come. But nevertheless, we ask for something, because again, otherwise, if you don't have the ways to fund it, at the end, you will not rent any room anymore to make conferences. Again, a loss of opportunity, you see. But what is sure is, what Kardec is very clear here, never ever it's for personal pocket or for personal status or stuff like that. It's only for giving continuity to the dissemination work of the Spiritist body of knowledge.
The subject of money and spiritism is always sensitive, and there is a very fine, small, thin line to define what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. The way I was raised, and whenever we had to do something, we, the members, we remove the money from our pocket to do. Right? We had as well situations like on the end of the year, like Charlie said, right? We have a gathering with people, but everything was more like to congregate the people than anything else, because on the end of the day, we subsidize everything, the members of the group, right? And on the end, we would never know if that was positive financially or not. That was more for the people to be together. So that was the main goal. And I cannot say enough that money and spiritism is a danger. Not everyone is prepared to see money in a bank account. I think I spoke about that last week, and not use it for personal purposes, or not to feel like I do not encourage anyone to do it. Ooh, another 2 hands. Hi, Munia.
Hi, Guilherme. Good morning, everyone. Guilherme, I would say that not just money, but more than that, profit is
Is
a key word in this, because we need money to, even if it's from our own pocket. Okay, let's get together. We pay for the event or whatever. As Charles mentioned, sometimes we need to raise some funding, but we have to be very careful not to attach what we offer to the money that people have to pay to be able to access that. And the other thing is regarding, why would I write the book, for myself, write a book about Spiritism? And what's the reason behind that? The spirits are clear. Spiritism is here to help us progress morally. If I'm not writing a book about the subject with this intention, and profit is out of the way, it's something that I shouldn't think of. If I want to make profit on that, it's wrong, even if I don't have the direct assistance of spirits through mediumship. So I'm also missing an opportunity to help in this movement, to bring humanity, to a new moral standard. And so I miss this opportunity. And of course, the companies that are, call close to me are of those spirits interested in money, in profit, in fame, in likes, So we have always to think, what is the purpose? I could write a book about Kardec's works and pick up some topics that are very interesting, will attract the attention. People will be inclined to buy my books. I'll become famous and so on. But what's the purpose if the spirits brought Spiritism to help people progress morally? And I want to make a profit out of that. So, you always have to evaluate that.
Something that just came to my mind here as well, Munir. I agree with everyone, with what everyone says as well. But there's a situation where sometimes we kid ourselves, or we try to find what I call excuses to justify the means. And for example, I have an institution that I subsidize the activities of the institution with books I'm writing. Ooh, that's a tricky one, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not here to create that debate, but I want to give an example. Let's say that I was expected, that was planned, that I would write through mediumship 2 books. And I thought, well, these books made that amount of money. I was able to initiate that activity. that social activity. And as ever, there are a lot of people in need everywhere. So things start to grow, things start to get a different dimension, and with that, a different costs as well. But I was planning on to write 2 books. So now I need to find another way, another income. And I will kind of fake the 3rd book, the 4th book. I will start to do the book myself, saying that was a spirit who was writing it. You know, I'm just making up that as an example here. We need to be very careful, because we are humans. It's very easy to deviate for the true purpose of something, you know. So we need to be very careful. That's what I would say every time. Hi, Christine.
Hi, everyone. Just a comment. It's connected with this somehow, but I was looking at a number of different podcasts and shows and different things, and there's a lot of people writing books on ghosts, and I guess that's where people in the West, if I can put it that way, don't really understand the difference between, because they don't, spiritism and ghosts. And, you know, these people are profiting a lot of money from writing these books on ghosts because they seem to be some expert, deemed to be an expert because they've written 3 books, say. But it's really frustrating when I see that. The more I learn about spiritism and mediumship, that people just think about ghosts. They actually don't see what is the true, what is true and what's not true. And it's sometimes it's a language that we use. It's they're spirits. They're not ghosts. They're spirits. They're just they're still here, but they're spirits when all's said and done. And it's just frustrating when you hear and see this. But I remember the first time, one of the first meetings I went to in Spiritism, the first thing that was said to me was, don't try and get people to understand what Spiritism is, and don't try and get people involved because you'll just get pushback. And that's so true. But people seem more inclined to believe in ghosts. And so if you write a book on ghosts or do a movie on ghosts, then it's believed more than if you talk about spiritism. And for someone that's learning more and more about spiritism, it's quite frustrating when I'd like to see more on spiritism that comes out in Western countries so that we can appreciate it more.
Yeah, very good point, Christine. Yeah. Different parts of the globes, different cultures, different needs, different people. But yes, would be nice to have the same amount of information we have in my home country everywhere, because as far as I know, it's one of the places that this information is booming, and there are other countries that they don't have the same. But let me show you guys one thing, just a minute. I'll show you 2 books. One, Vibrational Medicine from Richard Gerber. Well, he's a doctor. He wrote things that are pretty much in line with the Spiritism. He does not know Spiritism, okay? There's another one, Physics of the Soul from Amit Goswami. He's another scientist. He writes a lot of things in line with what we do here as well. Possibly, they are making a profit of it. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd say possibly, right? The information on those books are very positive. I buy them, I read them. Are they wrong? I cannot say that. I cannot say that. What I said is that with what I know about spiritism, being involved in the spiritism, I cannot do that, right? I'll give you another example. And that I gave that example many years ago in a situation that people were not very happy when I said. But something like 15 years ago, I had to do a research and a search. I went to many different things to find about energy, how to apply energy, how to use, how to help, how to heal. And I paid to do a, oh my God, I forgot the name. Jesus Christ.
Training.
No, there was a training about the healing. The people pay to go with.
Right?
Hake, yes.
Right.
Hake. I paid to do Hake, and there are several levels of courses you can pay to do to become a Reiki practitioner. And from the first day, I said, my God, this is healing that we do in the Spirit Center. The methods, the characteristics, everything. On the end of that training, people received a certificate that they could open their own cabinet to become a professional, if you like. Me and my wife, we did together because we were in this research together. But I looked to her, I cannot do that. I don't feel I can ever make a living from that. From what I see, from what I feel, from what I know, I can't. As simply as that, I can't. Because it's the same. It's exactly the same what we do, right? I'm not saying anything bad about those guys, not at all, right? I'm saying that when I compare things, when I see things and I see, well, this is really magnetism. This is really what we do. So I don't feel comfortable to go on that path because I know the consequences that I may have. So.
But again, Guilherme, it's all about intention and knowledge. I mean, these people that are there, they don't have the spiritual knowledge. So they have like they are doing a therapy, like if you pay to go to a psychologist, if you pay to go somewhere. So it's again, I mean, because you have the knowledge and you know that that's supposed to be given for free in the spiritual center. So it just saying that.
No, you're right. That's what I said. I have nothing against them. And they do what they have to do, how they feel like. I have no problem at all. I said that that possess means to compare what we do in the Spirit Center and what is this method. And there's not the only one. There are other methods that use the same thing. I did feel. So I don't feel that I'm free to do it. But anybody else that does, I have no problem at all. Oh, another two hands. Oh my God, who was first? So Nicole, you're first.
Yeah, either way. I just had a quick question. So for folks like outside of spiritism who might be making money, like I think of these mediums that are on TV shows and things, is the consequence still as harsh because they don't know better? Or is it just like a law of nature? Like if you do it, there's a consequence for this action regardless of if you know about spiritism or not. It doesn't even really matter. I guess I'm just curious.
No, it is a very interesting question. I would use the expression you did. The way I see is one of the laws of the universe. If you are medium, it's to be using in that way. You may use it in a different way. The consequences can be mitigated sometimes, depending on situation to situation. But the medium supposed not to charge for the mediumship.
So it's like there is such a thing as grace, but if you touch fire, you touch fire. At the end of the day, it's going to hurt. Like that's kind of the idea here.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's different between what we were speaking about Hake, for example, and using the mediumship for that. The people that do Hake, they don't know is medium. They have no concept. They have no
Sure.
nothing. But the people that use mediumship to write letters, to speak to people, to that's a different thing in my eyes.
Sure.
But the consequences will be the same. Perhaps can be mitigated, as anything we do can be mitigated through our actions, through our choices. But what we see on the mediumship meetings, when those spirits that used to be mediums come over, they are not in good shape.
Right.
They are not in good shape. And
Right.
some of them clearly said, I truly regret not using that as I was supposed to.
Hmm.
Asking for a new opportunity to do right, things like that. So,
Makes
oh
sense.
my God, everybody raise their hand now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Munir, you first.
I'll quickly say yes. I think just like anything else in life, we have opportunities to practice charity. I meet someone in the street, that person asks for help or for some money. I may decide to give or not. If I don't give, will I go to hell? Will I go to the dark zones and condemned for, will suffer, for many years because of that? No, but there are natural consequences because it shows that I still need to learn to be charitable.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, depending on how I do, I may do it and give some money, with almost like, despising the person and saying, oh, I'm only giving to you because I want to get rid of you. I'm not doing any better by doing that way. And also, if I'm a medical doctor, for instance, I charge. Fair enough. I have the right to charge. I've studied and done everything. But I see someone in need of a medical doctor, and I could treat that person, and I don't treat because that person cannot pay me. Well, I'm not condemned for suffering, and no, but I missed an opportunity to gain in terms of charity, a moral elevation in spiritual terms. I think in mediumship it's even worse because we attract the spirits according to how we behave dealing with mediumship. So as Guilherme said, it's a question of our conscience, what we do, just like anything else in life. And we shouldn't do it because of fear. And some people may see things in a different way, and they are condemned, and they will suffer terribly because of that. No, I think it's in a process where we miss an opportunity, and when we come to ask ourselves, what are you going to gain in spiritual terms from that? We may hear the answer from our conscience. You have already received your payment for that. That was in your bank account. So in spiritual terms, there's nothing here for you.
That's a very good one, Munir. But before I go to the next colleagues, I want to say something. A nurse, osteopath, a professional, they are touching people to help their pain and things like that. They are using magnetism. They are using the assistance from the spiritual world, and they don't even know, right? So we have to evaluate case by case, intention by intention. What are the person doing? What the person is not doing? It's not a simple matter. Say everything yes or no. It's not white or black. It's nothing like that. We need to see things properly. So, Camila.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. That is nice to get help to learn more. But the Nicole question, sorry, the Nicole point of view, right, is always the punishment the same. The person doesn't know you'll be punished, or is a cause and effect, right? I think that is a very interesting question because, in my understanding, a lot of things is cause and effect because it is logical. Like we read in the book, if you are charlatan, if you go in the television and you say make a profit with the spirits, right? We will attract to us only bad spirits, right? So I think that it doesn't matter if we have knowledge or not, right? You came to these bad spirits that you harm us, you affect our lives, right? But if I'm a doctor, I'm doing everything that I can to help, and I don't believe in judging God, like, and I charge people. I don't think it's a problem, but I also agree with you, Monier, right? If you have the opportunity to help someone, no matter where, and you didn't, right? You missed the opportunity to be better, right?
Let me go from the beginning. We all are spirits, and we came from the spiritual world to Earth. It's not because I'm in Brazil, in US, or UK, or any other country that the process is different. The process is the same, the process of reincarnation. If a person is a medium, he knew when he was in the spiritual world that he would have this condition. He was prepared to be a medium, as we see on the books as André Luiz, for example, on others. So a medium, he is aware and prepared before he incarnated. If I'm going to a place where being a medium means business, means you fall in the trap, perhaps you were prepared to avoid that, to start to change the scenario in that region, and you didn't. So it's not like my punishment will be B, C, D. No. All our actions have a consequence, and that's it. Right? Depending how you use, you have a consequence. If you decide not to use, you have another consequence. If you decide to use in the wrong way, you have another consequence. And that there's no difference between South America, North America, Europe, Asia. It's all the same. The mechanism is the same, right? But there are mitigations. I don't know I'm a medium. I have never been given such information. I'm living entirely isolated, and I became a nurse, for example. And every day when I touch my patients to clean, to help, to dress them, I'm donating something that I don't even know I'm donating. So we need to evaluate case by case. But the universe has immutable laws, and the laws are there. You've been given something to be used in that way. You don't use, you may have some consequences, but the mitigations are always there. You know, we need to think about that. So, and I forgot already. I have another thing based on what you said, Nicole, but I forgot already. Oh, Camila, but I forgot already. Sorry. If I remember, I'll go back. But that was what got most of my attention, you know. So now, Liz, how yours?
Hi, guys. I would like to remind us of two things. One thing is about the responsibility. And yes, we see these word consequence with a, like, oh my God, I'm going to hell, I'm going to suffer, I'm going to have this and that. No, I think what Spiritism tell us and teach us is that we are in a path of evolution, which every action that we take has a consequence, whether good or bad, in the same proportion of our awareness of these responsibilities, of these actions, of what we are really doing. So, we attract things to us, and then we feel what we've done, and then we commit to those consequences. So it just to kind of remind us that we are this agent, and that God, with all his love, his infinite love, is not punishing anybody. So, we are going to, just for our own good and for our own learning, be abide on certain laws, but we are the ones who choose, we are the ones who accept, we are the ones who are leading this process as well. And another thing is about the mediums, like Nicole said, about these mediums on the television. And like here in the UK and in other places, you go to these places, these halls, and then there are mediums there and mediums doing readings. To be honest, if we pay a little bit more attention, the veil of spirituality is still drawn to them. It's not withdrawn from them. It's still there because they can't perceive the spiritual world like Sheikh Xavier would, like other mediums that are, sacrifice their lives to do this charitable work with all the, the awareness of the responsibility, and they did it very well. They don't see the spiritual world, they don't see the spirit like some mediums who really took it seriously and, placed their heart out there and became the instrument of good. They don't. If you see, and if you pay a little bit more attention, as things here and there, as little sensations, the veil of spirituality is still drawn in front of their eyes. It's not withdrawn from their eyes. So, for me, these people and the people who write whatever that is in tune with spiritism, they are doing, they are just keeping that awareness that there is something out there for the majority of people that don't know what is going on, don't want to know, more importantly, don't want to know about their spirituality and, their nature and everything. And, spiritism knowledge is universal. Of course, you're going to find here and there people writing about it. So this is just something I wanted to put out there for us to reflect.
Mm-hmm. I have only one comment to make, Liz. Spirituality is anything from the spiritual world. Spirituality does not define good or bad spirits. Spirituality is a kind of acknowledge that there's something else on the other side. Does not define what is good, what is not good. And if you go to Kardec, he's very clear. If you are charging for something, you will not be working with the high level spirits, elevated spirits. So then it's the choice of the person. If the person wants to be worked with good spirits or not that good spirits, right? But spirituality is a dome. You can put anything under this word, spirituality. Spiritism is a different thing. Spirituality, I'm talking about spirits. There are so many variations of degrees of knowledge, of content, of anything can fall under this dome of spirituality. Spiritism is a bit more precise on that way. Hi, Christine.
Oh, hi. Just two quick things I wanted to say. One, I mentioned a week or so ago that my brother-in-law was he's having palliative care, which he is, and my sister had gone to someone who said that he would pass in November. Just interestingly, today in Australia it's the 14th of December and he's still here. So I'll be seeing my sister soon. So yeah, letting her know that she shouldn't always believe what she's told by someone that she's paying to tell us things that aren't necessarily correct. And the other thing was that I used to be a nurse and I had a person that was in a coma and I used to speak to him every day like he was a patient in the bed and that he was awake. And I used to be ridiculed because I'd speak to him every day and treat him with respect and the courtesy that he deserved. But the other nurses didn't bother. But I arrived at work one morning and he woke up and he asked to speak to me and I spoke to him and he said, "Thank you for treating me as a human being." He said, "And I feel I can go now." And then half an hour later, he passed away. So, yeah, he could hear everything. He couldn't see, but he could hear everything. And people just assume people in bed, they're going to pass away and they're not really worthy of our attention, but they are. They are.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. We never know when the time is the time. So we should not accept something that anyone says to us. Well, you're going tomorrow, as that's a done deal. We don't know. In that line, I would like to share with you guys, over the years, I have met people that they were granted extensions because of the good work they were doing. So that's another incentive to do the right thing, you know. And I've seen people that were granted an extension due to the need to learn something more, and people who had been granted extensions because of the quality, the importance of what they did. And a good example of that was Chico Xavier himself. He was expected to do way work, and it was done so well that he got a little bit longer with us, you know. So there are all the kind of things. And by the way, it's not me saying, we're the spiritual world saying, right? I don't have that capacity to say if someone will be a bit longer here or not at all. But we had those well registered in some library. So we need to be free to choose what we want to do, right? Perhaps if I'm a medium and not using my mediumship, I may not need to be here that long. And if I'm a medium using my mediumship, if I do it well, perhaps I'll be granted a little bit longer here. So who don't want to be a bit longer here, right? I do, right? Likewise, if we're talking about utilization of your magnetism or ectoplasm or things like that, what you have and you don't use, there are people that advocate that you may have some physical consequences. For example, if you were, just an example that came to my mind, if you were supposed to be using your voice to divulgate, to speak about something positive to people and you don't, perhaps you come back later with some problem in your throat, something like that, you know? So things like that we see on the Spiritism Library. So it's up to you guys to find something like that. So yes, I have another hand. Camille.
It's me. I was thinking what Christine said, and I want to share something that happens with me to get help, right? Like in this situation, because it, for example, before the pandemic, I also believe that everything was more or less right, right? Like we came here, we have the things right, and I have these views, and usually the things happens. But when, for example, having the pandemic, all my views start to be like a white scare, right? Like a white screen, right? Like don't have a certainty about anything. My father, godfather, also he do a lot of work like writing from the spirits, things like that. He saw the same, which was very interesting because we have the same feeling, right? The same thing. And my father, for example, me and my auntie, that's also working in a spiritual center, we believe that my father would go away, right? He finishes. I go to Brazil to see him. I thought it was the last time. And after pass the time, and I felt like he won a bonus, right? He had a little bit more chance to get better in his life before goals. So this both experience may make me start to believe. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, right? That nothing in the spiritual world is so exactly right? So we have a programmation, but if things can change, right? According with our actions. I don't know. According with what we do, we think, we vibrate. I don't know. I start to believe on that. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, right?
I'll give you an example in line of what you said. And that we can find in some of the Chico Xavier books. People that were supposed to do things and they surpass what they're supposed to do, they were able to mitigate the consequences of previous events, previous lives. So, for example, somebody was, well, the planning was that somebody at age of 40 would develop a cancer, and from that cancer, he would go away. But he was doing so well that he got like as you said, a bonus that, yes, he had a cancer that was treatable, and he stayed until he was 75 years old, for example. So there are mitigations. There are things progressively changing depending on our choices. And if you think like quantum physics depend on the eye of the observer, and you are the observer. You're observing and you are changing what you see, what you do, and perhaps you are able to move things around to get way better. So yes, we do have that power. For example, and this is proven by science, the power of your words. If you decide to be somebody whining, complaining, just saying bad things all day, you will have a problem, because you are defining your surroundings, your spiritual surroundings, and it's your call. On the other line, if you do decide to do something positive, always happy, yeah, you have problems, because everybody here have a kind of problem, because that's why we are on earth. Otherwise it would be anywhere else. So, but you see things, wow, today was a very, very hard day. Everything went wrong, but tomorrow will be better. I've seen things like that before. Tomorrow will be better. So you are defining your surroundings. Yes, you're being stressed all day. You're being under pressure all day. It wasn't a very good day, but your mindset is, will get better. With that, you attract good spirits around you, and you do have a better chance to have a better environment around you, your work, your home. We have that power. That's what we don't really understand sometimes, or we don't want to understand. That's why we're still doing the wrong choices. How many?
Now, what came into my mind was the an example, like when you go buy new tires for your car. You buy the tires and they tell you can run approximately for about 30,000 miles with those tires. But then when you drive your car, depending on how you drive your car, they may last more than that, but they may last a bit less. It very much depends how you use the tires, and how you drive. And there was a case of an old lady in one of Andre Luis's books. This old lady, she had a heart problem, but she was taking care of so many children. And it was very important to keep her because she was doing a great job. And then she managed to get, some extra time. The spirits actually helped her in her heart problem. And she stayed in the physical world for longer because she, managed to get that extra time as a result of the work that she was doing. So her tires would last for, many more miles than an ordinary one.
So we as eternal spirits, one day will be conscious of our power. Regardless what Jesus said to us already, that we were God, that we could do equally as him or even more than him. We don't believe that, right? We don't want to believe such a things. And even if you don't expect to do greater things like he did, we can do things in our level. But even like that, I prefer not to believe. I prefer to second myself into depression. I prefer to second myself into happiness. I become a grumpy person. It's you. It's you. The day you realize you have the power to change things, things will get better. So what time is it? Well, we have 6 minutes. So let me try to see if I can finish this chapter, not this item. We mustn't forget that whether they are a high order or a low order, spirits are the souls of the dead. If morality and religion oblige us to respect the physical remains, then there is an event there is an even greater obligation to respect their spirits. What would we say about someone who dug up a corpse in order to display it for money because it was capable of arousing curiosity? This word here, curiosity, we need to be very careful. A lot of people come to leadership meetings by curiosity. And when we are in the leadership meeting, instead of elevating our thoughts, doing what we're supposed to do, we are more interested to see what the others are doing, right? Curiosity is something positive if drive us to do the right thing. But if curiosity is just curiosity, I think we are losing an opportunity. Would it be any less disrespectful to display the spirit than a body under the pretext of being curious to see how the spirits act? And we should know that the price for a seat will reflect the scope of the tricks and the attractiveness of the show. Even if during its lifetime a spirit had been a comedian, it would certainly not suspect that after death it would encounter an entrepreneur who would make it perform for free while he or she made a profit from it. We must remember that both physical and intelligent manifestations are only, I don't know why you open here, are only permitted by God for our instructions. And with that, we finalize here. Let me save the file. I'll save later. So let me stop sharing. I can see that Raphael is already here. And it's all yours, Raphael.
Before I start, there's a question from Camila.
Oh,
Because in the past, in my grandmother's days, in the past we have the centers and the medium sessions, right? It was open for everybody. Indeed, I went when I was young and one that was small, and any person could go there and see the work, right? Then I was curious if that was the reason for people to stop to do his work open to the public, right? If it's not to promote the curiosity, like go people there just because you want to see what is happening, right?
I will speak by my own experience. I did participate for 4 years in an open mediumship meeting, as you described. Normally, people would come with curiosity. They would stay because they would happily found what they were looking for. And if it was just for curiosity, they would go away. But the aim of those meetings were not to promote curiosity. The aim of those meetings were very serious and still are very serious to the people that are doing so. But as ever, you may have those sessions with open doors to anyone to come, and you cannot prevent somebody that's only curious to be there. But as I said, experience shows me that the great majority of people that went over there to find something, and most of them, they found something, right? And those who were only there by curiosity, they went once and that was it. All right? Rafael, how are yours?
Cool. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Right, so as usual, at this time, we'll do a moment of irradiation, a moment of vibration to the planet. So I'm going to invite all of us to unite our thoughts and close your eyes and find yourself a moment of peace and calm in your heart and in your mind. And follow me in thought as we combine our intentions in this moment, elevating them to the higher spheres to the benefactors that dedicate their love, their time, their efforts to guide us, to the spirits that are above us, responsible for the many aspects of our planet. We direct to them a request that in this moment they direct this energy to the many of our brothers and sisters who are growing through challenges in their lives, facing the tests that are in front of them, with the intention to help them overcome the issues from the past, bring balance to their perispirits, bring learnings to their hearts. May they receive in this moment the beacon of light that shines in their minds and in their hearts, appealing to their experience as eternal spirits, so that they find a bit of comfort, a bit of consolation in the understanding that lies within their conscience, that above all, there is a loving Father who created perfect laws. May the resignation surface in their sentiments and in their ideas. May they find the strength to face the issues. May they get in contact with a renewed energy that envelops them in this moment. We keep in our minds especially the groups that are facing consequences of natural disasters, human conflicts, pride, greed. May we all learn in these moments to put our love for our brothers and sisters above anything else. And may we live according to the law of charity that God created and Jesus explained to us so beautifully. We ask in this moment that the whole planet may benefit from the wave of good intention that we direct to those brothers and sisters. We are grateful for the opportunity of being here together, learning and praying. And we ask permission to close another session. So be it.
Well, thank you, everyone. And Christine, I just copy on the chat here the books
Yep.
where I was showing. Okay.
Yep.
And I wish you all a very good weekend, nice week, and I'll see you all next week.
Thanks.